it's very clear that our system of capitalism has lifted many people out of poverty, but increasingly it's also starting to show its enormous shortcomings. What I'm currently entirely focused on is really to accelerate the implementation of these famous sustainable development goals that were approved in the UN in 2015 by about 193 countries, with the sole objective of creating a more inclusive, more sustainable society now and obviously for future generations as well. You can't have infinite growth on a finite planet. Since COVID, we've seen that we've pushed more people back into poverty. Climate change is we're not bending the curve, we're still projecting to well above 3 degrees. And this inequality and climate change are probably the most burning issues that we need to address. It also requires us to think about the way our economic system works, and that's probably the biggest systems change we need to make. Right now, we're trying to optimize all together in good spirit within a system, frankly, that's not designed to deliver anymore. I firmly believe that capitalism, or if you go back to the roots of business, that its origin is really into addressing societal problems. This world is frankly designed for about 3 billion people. We now have 8 billion people. Yeah. So when we were 3, 4, 5 billion people, we could use the rivers of this world to put our wastewater in without treating it and saving the investments of wastewater treatment. We could put our carbon into the air and not worry about it because the oceans would absorb it, or we would have enough trees to do the job for us. Unfortunately, we're now at a point that we've cut down half the trees in the world. Our waters, our land are significantly degraded or polluted. We just don't have anymore the luxury of getting these negative externalities into the world. And frankly, planet Earth cannot compensate anymore for our shortcomings. Smart companies that go beyond the law and try to take responsibility for their total impact in the world, that set targets of improvement around environmental and social aspects of their business that are in line with what science tells us to do. We find increasingly that these companies are better able to attract the talent. They have more engaged employees. They're probably more aware and more in touch with what society needs, so it reflects their innovation programs. They build more resilience into their business models, and all of that ultimately has a higher probability, and I'm putting it carefully, has a higher probability to translate into better business results. In Unilever, that got translated during my tenure in a 300% shareholder return, outperforming our competitors, well outperforming the markets. I don't think it has to come at the expense, nor should it come at the expense of shareholders. That would be naive. All over the world, by the way, that the citizens of this world prefer to buy from companies that have a more responsible business model in the many different aspects of ESG, if I may call it. In Europe, we have more of a tendency to regulate ourselves out of a problem. In the US, they have more of a tendency to innovate themselves out of a problem. But both of them have benefits inherently built into that. And increasingly, we're starting to see convergence happening where things have to come closer together with the speed and scale of the change that we now need to do. In Davos, where I know you've been at times, but the Republican governors are from states that are crying woke, and we're now seeing in these states that were heralded as banning the word ESG. We're seeing a little bit of rationalism coming in again. They're the ones that are fighting very hard for the attractiveness of the Inflation Reduction Act packages. There's not one goal that is in line with achieving the Sustainable Development Goals at the 2030 timing. We're truly at a tipping point in some areas, be it mobility, be it solar and wind, be it regenerative agriculture. There are now some things coming very close to reach. And so I rest optimistic that we can manage these challenges and can stay around the 1.5 degrees. We should not abandon that target. So I rest, as Desmond Tutu rightfully said in a panel I was in with him, I continue to be a prisoner of hope.
That's a wonderful point to stop and to thank you.